Exploring viewpoints feels like a really important topic right now. But how do we explore viewpoints with respect, self-awareness, and humility, knowing that we can never fully walk in someone else's shoes?
How do we get our students to want to care, to be curious, and really listen to the perspectives of others? Art can be a window into exploring the viewpoints of others and a mirror to reflect back our own.
I had the chance to sit with Professor Veronica Boix-Mencia from the Harvard Graduate School of Education, who's done extensive research on the process and impact of exploring viewpoints. Let's hear from her now. So as we begin, how might you characterize exploring viewpoints?
I think that exploring viewpoints and taking perspectives is a fundamental human capacity. If you think about it, we are wired evolutionarily to understand or to seek the perspectives of others. We have these neurons called mirror neurons that help us to feel in our bodies the state of mind of other people, the body movements of other people. Learning how to take perspectives is very natural for us as human beings. We learn it early on in life. At age of 4, children already understand that people may have very different representations of a single event. We learn about who we are in interaction with others because we're social beings. So in a way, we're really primed to exploring viewpoints in a very, very fundamental way. At the same time, we are wired to live in small communities and homogeneous communities where people know us, people know our story, people know who we are, people are like us, so to speak. So when we think about a world like today's, in which we have a much more complex demographics, we have migratory movements that are changing society, classrooms, and so forth, we need to learn to take perspective. We need to learn to consider viewpoints. At the very heart of exploring viewpoints, in my view, is the question of how do we get to understand the thinking, the feeling, the motivations of another human being. And in order to do that, we have several tools, so to speak. On the one hand, cognitive tools. We can think our way through, trying to imagine, to envision another person's point of view, another person's experiences. We have empathy as a tool, which is our capacity to try to feel the emotions of other people in our own bodies. And then there's compassion, which is this response to the question of why is it that certain people are able to feel the experience of others, feel sometimes the pain of others, and feel inclined to care and do something about it. So in the field of taking points of view, you see these 3 main strands of work. Now, it's interesting to think about the process of exploring viewpoints, because you can think, if we were to sort of make it very linear and simple, we could say there's a moment of observation, close observation. There's an act of imagination. We need to imagine with the information that we have, the emotional reading of resonance in our body, as well as the information that we have from what we see. Imagine what the state of mind, what the thoughts, what the motivations might be of another person. But then we can't stop there, because imagine is imagining. So we need to keep an inquiry stance, a possibility of inquiring a little bit deeper into the reality of the other person's perspective. We need to corroborate our imagination. So quality perspective taking also involves reflecting our own viewpoints, sort of being reflective about how we experience the perspective of others, because that keeps us in check, so to speak. So it's that process, that arc of learning that involves observation, imagination, inquiry, corroboration, and self-reflection.
I really appreciate hearing that arc. It helps to take this very abstract concept and give me some steps to understand how I might engage with that and how I might help students or teachers to also do that. Be sure to watch the second part of my conversation with Veronica later in this unit for suggestions on how to navigate the potential challenges of exploring viewpoints.
You'll also want to watch the videos of lessons depicting how students explore viewpoints in works of art in the classroom and at the museum. In one example, a classroom of 5th graders imagines the perspectives of characters in a story, which really expanded their empathy and understanding of the story's meaning.
In another lesson, you'll see a group of high school students at the National Gallery as they explore viewpoints in contemporary photographs, attempting to step inside the artworks and using their imagined perspectives to create and perform monologues.
We encourage you to experiment with the thinking routines modeled in this unit. Circle of viewpoints and step inside. These will really help your students explore multiple perspectives with imagination, empathy, and compassion.